Hey, everybody, right back. Sorry, forgot the lights. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Rick Snider's Washington, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit the thanks button. Definitely my hair and stick up. And tonight and following days, because more people watch this delayed. Hey, Steve, thanks for coming. Not revisionist, you too. Tonight, all the thanks money that I always beg for will be going to a local toy drive. So please give generously. Every dollar goes to the toys for kids. Can you imagine waking up Christmas Day, nothing, nothing? Listen, I grew up a little austere, but I still had stuff at Christmas, and I can't bear to think kids aren't. So we raised $150 at Thanksgiving off of this show for people to eat on Thanksgiving. So now let's try and help the kids out. So you can do it live with us, where if you follow up and watch on replay, you can still do this, and the money will come to me, and I'll put it in there. All right, here we go. Todd, also thank you for coming, and Hank. So I wondered if anybody would come tonight after yesterday. I mean, yesterday was kind of like the funeral. It was just like, yep. If you didn't know it was over already, you knew it was over after yesterday. So, whew, that was a tough one to watch. I mean, they've given up 30 or more points on every home game except for the first one. Every home game since the first one, which was Arizona, they won. They've lost them all, and I think now they won another one. But every time it's been a huge visiting crowds. Miami Dolphins were probably 75% of the crowd yesterday, and I joked today that there isn't a Washington institution in town that sends visitors home as happy as the Commanders do. I kind of thought of that when I saw the Dolphins fans all lined up near the player tunnel at the end of the game, and they're cheering the win and all. And I thought, I remember when that used to be the Redskins on the road. And, they came to town, they were the big show, they kicked butt and left. But, there were a lot of really great road places to go. Like Phoenix was huge every year when they played Arizona, because that was LA didn't have a team at the time, especially. And, um, people, it was a chance for West Coast fans to come. And there were a ton of Redskins fans out in the West Coast, Commanders fans like now. So it just made me feel nostalgic for a moment about, gee, it didn't have to always be this way, but it's been a long time. Daniel, thanks for coming. So let's see. What do I think about John Allen's comments? Says Hank. Boy, okay, I got a video in the morning about that, but let me just say, when I saw John Allen saying, thinking about leaving 1,000%, I thought, here you go. Now he's under contract 2 more years. He's going nowhere unless the team lets him. The team is not going to cut him. He wouldn't have a dead money impact the next 2 years, so they could trade him without taking a big hit. And I think here's a guy who would be one of the last men standing, in my opinion. I mean, he played high school football about 2 miles from Redskins Park, Commanders Park. He's been here 7 years. It's been what you consider a defensive leader on this team. And he's saying, I'm kind of tired of this crap. I don't feel like rebuilding anymore. I think about what it would be like. He's probably looking over some envy with Chase Young, over in San Francisco. Who I don't think he's played particularly great, but that's another thing. And he's probably thinking, if I stay here the next 2 years, you don't know how long your career is. He's already 7 years in. He doesn't want to end up like Ken Harvey or somebody who plays years in the league and never makes the playoffs. The NFL is not like the NBA. They don't get to move around like they would like. But when John Allen says that, that really tells you how the depths of this is all is gone. And I could see them trading him next year, which you'd say, remember that defensive line? He used to have all that talent. What are they down to then? Deron Payne and a bunch of guys? Man, that just shows you the futility of what they did, how it didn't work out. So I was really surprised when John Allen said that. Okay, Todd, that was a pathetic performance. Saw highlight clips? Really? Highlight clips of which team? Yeah, weren't too many Washington ones. My favorite play for Washington was the Sam Howell 13-yard run. That was a heck of a run for a touchdown. I like that one. That was because it's fourth down. You had to get there, and he weaved through a lot of people. That was a really good run if you haven't seen that. That said, I sound like Rivera going, we did some good things. Really did. But yeah, man, they're down 17-0 in the first quarter. That short pass was intercepted for a pick six. That guy was in the backfield. I mean, I don't blame Sam for that because it's like I just got the ball and threw it, and dude, that dude's right there, gone. He's not supposed to be there. That was a tough one. That was like a backbreaker when that happened. It was like, okay, this is over. We knew it. I wondered if Miami would score 50 plus in the game, and I think they let down the second half. But I saw some Washington defenders who were not taking proper angles at balls when it's a downfield play. That's a tough play to make because you're going to have a collision. People get hurt. And I'm not saying people purposely miss, but I saw some holding back, in my opinion, on the last two games. Not revisionist. Does Lantis get a pass for the state of the Wizards? Well, he shouldn't because now that Dan Snyder's gone, all eyes should start looking over at Ted, who says, I need $600 million to stay downtown with this team. Oh, yeah, what are you going to get for $600 million? Well, we're going to have a new food court. Seriously, a new food court? Oh, we're going to have a new glass entrance to the building. Who cares about that? Oh, rich people are down low are going to get better seats. Okay, yeah, sign me up for that. They're going to pay more. But the city is thinking about it because what's called the Penn Quarter, right around there, has gone to hell in the last few years. I mean, in DC, these teenagers are ruining the city. They're not afraid of anything because they know, oh, I'll go to jail till I'm 18, and that's it. And they're doing some serious crime. And the arena area is not good. And they need to get more cops and more in there, or else people are going to be afraid to go. And I think, and that's not Ted's fault for all that, and they are hired more security, but I think people should look at Ted and say, why are the Wizards? Last time I checked, they were 3-14. I probably missed a loss or two. They've never been that good under Ted. They've only been okay a few times, but he's been a terrible Wizards owner on there. And the Caps, okay, they won a Stanley Cup. Ovechkin was a great player for them. He's starting to slow down, I guess. But Ted wants more things for his TV network. He wants more for the gambling networks. I don't see a guy who wants to buy the Nationals, because he loves baseball. That kind of scary. And the Learners have basically bled everything out of that team and not doing anything. We got a town of lousy owners. I mean, Josh Harris may be the best one now. Now I pissed everybody off. Here we go. All right, Todd. I'm close to retirement. I can say what I want now, which is kind of nice. Todd, if John wants to go, and let's start off 2024 fresh. Well, I mean, don't give him away. Don't give him away like Trent Williams, that kind of thing. Guy signed a contract, he's got to stay. If that, I mean, you don't want to have unhappy players, but that's part of it. They get over it. He'll go do his job. But I wouldn't give him away like Trent Williams. So let's not be rash and just say whatever. Todd thought the Howe touchdown was the best play. I agree with that. Joel says, yeah, a lot of Miami fans lost the fan base. Here's where I think we are with the fans. Last year, I think at best there were 15,000 Commanders fans coming to games, and sometimes as low as like 5,000, maybe. Not 5, but maybe 5,000. This year, I think it's about a steady 15,000 or more Commanders fans. So they have improved that. Problem is, the rest of the stadium is still opposing fans. The only one that was solidly Washington was the opener, and that's because Dan was gone. And people in Washington like events, and they all came for that. The team won. That was nice. And then since then, they've just gotten the heck beat out of them. And it's hard to watch, and it's hard to spend the money like that and spend your day there to watch them get kicked to the curb every week. So I understand, but I think they are farther ahead on ticket sales than before. But still, no, I think Pittsburgh's coming here next year too. That'll be another bad one. All right, Smack City. Ooh, I like the name Smack City. Heard any rumors on what the owners are looking for in a new coach? Okay, let me write it all down for you. No, I have not talked to Josh Harris about this. I've talked to owners at times about certain things. We haven't gotten to this yet. I'm sure they're working on a list, but right now it's not leaked out at all. And they can't approach these people anyway. So what they should be doing, you take your top 5 guys, because you'll get one of them. I mean, people say, what about Ben Johnson out of Detroit? You really should get him. Sure, but I don't know that he wants to come here. I mean, that's part of it. They've had coaches in the past years turn them down. So, do your top five and vet them out now. This is what you do right now. Do you find something in these five guys that says do not hire them? You know, is there a past legal problem? Is there a past personnel problem? Are there problems there that are red flags that don't have time in January to figure this out? You figure it out now. It's what you're supposed to do with draft picks too, but people never do this because coaches always say, "I can change them. I can fix that. He'll be okay here." And then it's not. You are who you are. And these troubled players seldom turn around, and that's the big mistake. Trying to see something in a person that's not there. Well, that's what you're going to do with these coaches. Go figure out if there's a red flag to eliminate people to get them down. That's what they should be doing right now. Share 606. Can they dissolve the whole team? No, you can't fire everybody. I'm sorry. You have to bring some of them back. Hopefully, just bring back the good ones. Russell, it's not fair to judge Sam until we get a good offensive line in front of him. In a perfect world, I would agree with you there. But that could be several years from now. So Sam has to do some things on his own. I have been a Sam advocate since he came here. I'm not trying to kick him to the curb, but I try to be fair-minded in how things work. So here's the big question. Let's say you get a top 4 pick, and there's a quarterback there. And this new GM and coach want him. Do they take him? I say if that's what you really want, yes. But you keep Sam Howell as the backup. He's got 2 years left on his deal, too. You need 2 quarterbacks in this league. Look at all these hotshot first rounders that came in. They get hurt or they stink. You still want to have an ace up your sleeve with your backup. By the way, did you notice that Jacoby Brissett got to play at the end of the game? Wait a minute, Ron. I thought you said these guys had to always fight through things, and that's why you never did this before. But here you wanted to let Jacoby get some time in for down the stretch. Man, Ron really talks both sides of issues. I'll give him that. Charles, the farming guy. There's somebody new for us. Jim Harbaugh or Bill Belichick? Well, I'd take Harbaugh over Belichick, but I don't think either one is coming. Harbaugh might win a national championship here. And you could say, yeah, it's the best time to get out of there and all that. Maybe sort of like, Seattle's coach. Now I won't remember his name for this last second, but we all know who I'm talking about. Came after a great college career and then sanctions hit after he left. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Harbaugh, but we've already seen the NCAA going for him. He might want to jump to the pros. On there. Yesterday, the biggest fighting in the press box. Yesterday's press box was loud. The biggest fight was about when they named the college teams, and man, the place just erupted. Everybody arguing about things, and I got no dog in the fight, but I kind of agree it sucks for Florida State. But hey, man, Alabama's one of them marquee names. This just ain't about best teams; it's about best TV revenues. Never forget that. Drew, taking the girlfriend from out of town to a Caps game in 12/23. Any must-dos in the city? Let me just say this. When I just finished talking about how the area around Penn Quarter has been kind of make sure that you're not just walking the streets at night in D.C. alone. I would not really recommend it. I'm not saying you're going to get robbed or anything, but I don't do tours at night, partly because I don't feel safer on the streets, even downtown as much as we used to. Don't take that chance. But during the day, I got a new one for you, Drew. It's called the O Museum, like O, the letter O, Museum. At the mansion. It's on O Street, right by DuPont Circle. I just went there the other day. I got a video coming. It's a cool place, and she'll like it. So there you go. She'll wonder, where did you get this from? Well, I know that. All right. Smack City likes the quarterback out of Alabama. I haven't seen him enough to say anything about that. I don't watch a lot of college ball. Why not bring Cowher out of retirement, says Charles? Because Cowher don't want to come out of retirement. If he would have already done it by now. He's happy in that life. Good for him, because a lot of coaches never quite find contentment like that. Todd likes Michael Penix out of Washington. Again, I haven't seen college quarterbacks too much. Can only watch so much, and Saturday is my free day during the week, so I don't spend it watching college football. Jason thinks the new head coach and GM should have complete authority to bring in 53 new players. Yeah, but you can't bring in 53 guys. One thing, the dead money be too much. Two, it's too much chaos for 53 guys. Now, you may bring in 30, but you're not bringing in 53. All right, so let me stop for a second and just say, well, I got a text from somebody important. Okay, don't worry about that. Like I said at the beginning of the show, please hit the thanks button. All money is going to go to charity for the toy drives for the kids. $5, $10, whatever. We'll pull it all together. I hope to get at least $100 out of you guys. I'm not taking anything out of this. I'm working for free tonight. So if you can help a kid, think about it. You want a kid waking up on Christmas with nothing? This is America. We don't do this. So please hit the thanks button. It's the $ below me down here. And let's try and help some of the kids out. Okay. DMV Bay for quarterbacks. Okay, once more talking about people. I don't know. I'm not going to answer quarterback questions tonight out of college. I'm sorry. I just be spitting in the wind, as they say. Would I trade Allen or McLaurin? Asked Ross. Give me the right price. I'll trade anybody. Trade my right arm if you give me two left arms. Todd would trade Allen. I mean, I'd trade anybody. You don't want to lose people, but for the right price, you do whatever. Brent, would you like to see Sean Pioli or Louis Riddick as GM? I'd go Pioli. A little more of a track record than Louis, although I knew Louis from his time in Washington. I don't think he'd be a bad choice, but Pioli's proven he can do this. Brent, would like to see it. Okay. Llewellyn, we need to hire Jay Gruden back. That ain't happening. Lead Commander, you ignore my question. Could you go back and read it? No, this is going too fast. Ask it again. I'll try and hit it. I stopped to talk about charity. Nobody's hit that button yet. And I missed your question, Lead Commander, but just type it again. It's just me and my shadow doing this. It's not, perfect system. DMV, Terry, how about to break a Redskins record, 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons? Well, not if that goes like yesterday, but Terry's going to be fine. I agree with that. Steve, Rod's a veteran coach who led the team to Super Bowl just like Harbaugh. What did that get us? Well, I mean, true. Not everybody, very few coaches have ever gone to a second Super Bowl with a second team. Count that on one hand. You have to judge people what you think they can do now. DMVB asked about Harbaugh. Yeah, I'll say this. The audience tends to flip every 10, 15 minutes, so it's okay. I can answer a question for those of you who hang in all the time, and I appreciate it. Just like Steve, I appreciate you handing in some money to help the kids with the toy drive. But I'd be okay with Harbaugh if he came here. Trade them all. Terry's. It's not like they're winning with the guys at Smack City. That's a very good point. He's like, if you're losing with them, what's the point? Sucks this team keeps losing, says Charles. I remember when they were winning Super Bowls. Yeah, I covered a couple of them, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. This sucks. It gets old. I mean, I've seen 4-win seasons before. I've seen a 3. They suck. Why isn't Joe Jacoby in the Hall of Fame, Brent? I've talked to Hall of Fame owners. I think they're stupid. And they basically said, they got a lot of tight end help on the side. And Jacoby, got some head bull. That's bull. Jacoby didn't need anybody's help. He fought some of the great warriors to a draw at times, like Lawrence Taylor. Jacoby was good. Jacoby was not a draft pick, and I think there's some snobbery there on that. And people have already voted Grimm in. They think we have to do a second guy on that line. Yeah, it was a great line. Okay, the Hogs were one of the best lines in NFL history. It's okay to put a second guy up. So I think you'll get in under the Veterans Committee pick at some point. Well, and how was Leonardtown's Christmas? Great. I felt like I was in Whoville or something out of the Grinch. It was like a couple thousand people there for the tree lighting. Had my grandkids with me, and it was fun. And the weather was nice. It's been a good early winter kind of thing here for us. We've done well. Today I didn't even need a jacket. Scotty A. After this year, do you think Ron coaches again? Probably not. I think Ron goes in either consulting or works for the league, but I think his days as the head coach will be over. Lead commander, it said players still play for their careers when all is lost. Why are we seeing such bad efforts? Because when players know a coach ain't going to be back, they let down a little bit. It's the truth. They say they don't, but they do. I've been watching this game. Next summer will be my 50th training camp somewhere, including high schools. So I've seen a lot of football. And while it doesn't make me an expert, I can see what people are doing. And players let down a lot of times. They say the opposite, but it's not true. Not they don't play as hard as they really could. All right, league commander. It said players. Okay, I just did that one. All right, Jason. Why haven't you shared more of those diet food trials? I haven't had any lately, but I'm doing a pizza show a week from Thursday. So about 10 days from now, I'm doing a pizza show with several other sports writers, and we're going to Lido in College Park um, to see if it's like the old Lido. It's a new Lido. The family's gone. The original family sold out. So we're going to do that. I don't know. I guess I haven't seen much for diet food trials lately. I did the Harry Potter beans the other day with my grandkids. That was kind of funny. So you're right. I mean, this bye week, who knows what I do this week? We actually have a week off from the madness. So you get in such a grind covering football that you don't always get out of it. So I do more of that in the off season. Charles, should we try and get Dan Quinn? Nah, I'm not a big Dan Quinn fan, to be honest. DMV, do you feel Terry and Jahan not having success should be is their fault or the scheme or both? And that kind of came up a little bit today too with talking to Ron Rivera about it. Um, I think it's just a new offensive coordinator trying different things. Jahan's a better receiver than what we've seen. So Terry put Terry on the right team, and he's on the Pro Bowl every year for sure. Not that he isn't now, but he gets a lot more opportunities. Joel, I wouldn't hire any coaches in our division. Absolutely agree with you there. Smack City, I work at Lido's corporate is killing the company. Woo. Okay. I used to work in a restaurant, when I was younger, and so I know a little bit about that. Uh, yeah, it's unfortunate. And Lido is not as the old Lido, where the family owned the restaurant in Adelphi and College Park. Pizza was 10 times better than the chain, and the chain varies as which location. Unlike if you go to McDonald's, a Big Mac is a Big Mac wherever you go. It's not the same as Lido. Pizza's okay. It's even better in some places, but it's inconsistent. You got to know which one you like. I have one a couple miles from my house. We eat there once in a while, but we eat other pizza from other places too. I used to love Lido, but I'm not quite as diehard as I used to be. Don't eat pizza as much as I used to either. Okay, David, you think the tradition of the team is hurting the current team? Nah, they don't even pay attention. They don't pay attention to the past. These players, they don't know the past. Not at all. Sort of like when, a few years ago, I used to take eighth grade groups around Arlington National Cemetery. We would go to the Eternal Flame of John F. Kennedy. To these kids, they knew nothing about him. He was a name in a president list like Rutherford B. Hayes, or Franklin Pierce. And I was like, how is that possible? Well, because Kennedy is 60 years ago. That's why. So I tell your parents and grandparents you saw this. Time moves on like that. And the current players don't care about people in the past. They're young. History's for old people. After the last few years watching Trent with the 49ers, we got hosed in that trade, says Llewellyn. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was another Bruce Allen mistake. Slam and jamming. Good. Slam and jamming's back. I've had it with the EB offense. It's awful. I don't know. I don't think EB is as bad as people were wanting to say. Give it a little more time here. EB will be fine. Charles, although I don't like how he runs Brian Robinson straight ahead on the first play of the game too often. He gets a little predictable. I think he's kind of caught in some ruts too. He'll be okay in the long run. It's going to take a little bit more. Charles, thanks for that. Going to go watch the Manning cast. Come on, Charles. What do they got? Well, a few Super Bowl rings and millions of dollars, but leave some money before you go. Let's hit the thanks button and buy some toys for kids for Christmas. As I said, we're trying to raise money for kids in Christmas. I've gotten like a few bucks here, but I can buy a ball for somebody. You guys got to step up. You're getting content from a direct guy who covers a team. And I've been around this team more than 30 years. You don't get this anywhere else. So throw a few bucks. It's not for me. It's for the children. It really is for once. And, let's try and buy more toys for these kids. They had the toys for tots at the stadium yesterday. I didn't see the Marines at all, but they were there. Okay, league commander. The players in avoid injury mode. I was talking about that a few minutes ago. Yeah, I think there is some of that there. And, part of me understands that. You don't want to get hurt at the end of the season, especially if you're going to be a free agent coming up. That's the last thing you want to have happen. If you ain't playing for playoffs, then you're playing for yourself. What's the orange bumper sticker behind me? Jason, you haven't seen this? Okay. Oh, okay. I got these from the guy who did them. All right. So I like, this is the old Sonny and Billy bumper stickers, just like they really had back in the 70s. And the guy Ted did it, gave me a couple. And he passed away this past year, the guy who did all this. Great guy. I've got a video up about it somewhere on my Rick Snider page if you want to go look for it. So, yeah, it just says I like Sonny, I like Billy. The guys, Sonny and Billy used to drive around the Washington Beltway when these things came out in the early 70s. And they would spot them. And if they saw I like Sonny bumper sticker, then they drive up next to it on the side where Billy was in the car, and Billy would give him the finger, and yell at him. Can you imagine? You're sitting there driving along, there's Billy Kilmer, because you have a Sonny sticker, giving you the finger. And then Sonny would do the same thing. If they saw I like Billy sticker, they'd pull over there. Were they lubricated? Boy, sounds like it to me. But they would tell me the story. I know it's true. They both told me the story. They laugh about it still. So that they just thought it was funny. Let's see. What skin Super Bowl did you attend? Well, I attended the last one in Minneapolis, which was January of '92. Freezing. I did. '87. I covered some of the season, but I didn't go to the game. I was working at the Washington Times for both of them back then. I was a young kid once, and a young reporter. So I didn't do anything with the '83. Somebody asked me today about this. What'd you do at '83? I was 23 years old, and I was covering, just starting to cover colleges and stuff, and horses and all. So you used to have to pay your dues to become an NFL writer, and you still do. I mean, listen, people don't get out of journalism school with their degree and go, "Ooh, I'm covering the NFL." No, because you're going to get your butt kicked. But it's a little easier for younger people to cover the NFL now, just because there's all the old guys are gone. Papers have cut their staffs, and there's not people like me around anymore. I'm the longest running sports writer in DC at 45 years. But the old days there were more guys around, but the business has changed so much that you don't. Steve, watch the documentary on Sonny and Sam. Okay, I don't know if I've seen that. Almost as good as reading my books. Oh, okay. Well, if you haven't read my books, okay, same book, 100 things, 100 short stories, basically. Any fan loves it. Now, the Commanders one was updated last season when they changed the name. Publisher called and said, "You want to do an update?" So I updated the whole book, all the stats, and I took 5 chapters out that kind of aged out and put 5 new chapters in. Things like Alex Smith getting hurt, things like that. And they're like $15 on Amazon. That's really the only place you can get them. No, I don't sign them anymore. Not into it. But that's where you can get them is Amazon. The other day, Commander's book pulled ahead of the Redskins book, and I was like, "Ooh, that's the first time I've seen that. I think ever." Because people want to buy the old Redskins book, they don't like the name. But some reason it finally got ahead. And if you can't stand that and you want to go Redskins, go buy it. I get paid the same either way. Not much for books. I get like a couple of dollars. But they're a great present at Christmas time. The team losing just kills my book sales. Just kills it. If I had a team like the old days, when they were going to the Super Bowl, there was so much freelance money and everything, book stuff going on. Made a lot of good money. Now there's none of that. Part of it's the journalism world now. That's why I'm kind of like on semi-retirement. It's not worth fighting to stay in much anymore. Not making a lot, but luckily, I'm not desperate for the money, and I can still do it if I want. If I was just covering this team for money, I'd have been gone 5 years ago. But I like doing it, and it's what I've done for so long. I got nowhere else to go. All right. Anyway, Steve. Okay, Steve saw a documentary. Jason says, "I'm the man." Appreciate it. Some of these stories are funny. Some of them are true. Did I see Babe Ruth baseball worth? Oh, okay, I didn't see Babe, Joel. But there, a baseball worth something? No, I hadn't seen anything about that. Ooh, I caught up the questions. Oh, no, I didn't. Would love to know who Josh Harris has on his GM and HC list. Okay, I got that written down here. I stole it off his desk. No, I'm teasing. I've not seen it yet. Well, we'll hear about it. Don't worry. Wait a few weeks, and then all of you will say you hate it. You don't want that guy. That's why he's not showing it right now. Well, that and you can't approach people who are in the NFL. If he's got a guy on his list who's unemployed, he can go talk to him today, just like they did with Ron or Shanahan before he came here. Shanahan could have come and coached this team near the end of the season, and he's like, I don't want this mess on my resume. He waited till January, so that can happen. But I don't know that they're talking to anybody outside. But if they want a young and up and comer, an OC, maybe a Sean McVay coming loose, which I don't think will happen. You got to wait till January for it, to talk to them. And you don't need permission to talk to an assistant coach once the season ends and if it's for a head coaching job. And they're actually creating a time now between playoff games where coaches can do well, because it was always coaches who did well and their teams were going to the Super Bowl got frozen out of other jobs. So the NFL a few years ago tried to create a window to let these guys interview on it. So this will come. Core C5. Think they'll change the name again? Yes, I do think they'll change the name again. When? That's a great question. But maybe when the new stadium opens, something like that. But what they have said consistently, the owners, they got a lot on their plate right now. This isn't on it. But let them get through things like the stadium, all these redoing the team. And that's why I think it's a few years down the road. And maybe you time it. When you go to a new stadium, you go, it's a new era in Washington, blankety blank football. And that's when I would change the name. If they're going to do it. Of course, half of you are going to hate the new name and you're going to be yelling like crazy. And so I tell them, you can't please the crowd. Don't do it for that reason. We'll see. Let's see. Joel's got a question, but I don't understand it. Sorry. Good crowd, decent crowd tonight here. That's always appreciated. 8:31. So let me hit the toy drive thing again. There's that dollar sign right below me here. You hit that, you can give $2, $5, $10, $20. All money goes to the toy drives here in Washington, D.C. area. And actually, this one I think I'm going to hit target is a list of families with autistic children, and they need some help. I have family member involved with this, so I know what it's like. They've got a list out there, and you can buy toys for them. So I'm going to take any money we get here and buy toys. And I'd like to think that somebody's going to be able to get something under a tree that maybe wouldn't have gotten it otherwise. I'm working with a turkey drive also coming up, but that's something else. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in this country that are struggling. We don't always talk about it, but you'd like to think, that's not possible in this country, but it is. And I grew up kind of austere, but I wasn't poor. But I could see it from there at times, and I think I know what it's like. So we're going to try and help these people best we can. Joel, did I hear the alarm? Yeah, I was in the building and I heard it. And it wasn't long before then it said, attention, attention, it's a false alarm. I mean, it took several minutes, but it's happened before. Nobody ever leaves. They go, there's a fire somewhere in the stadium, whatever. But I don't see any smoke or flames near me, and we're not moving because I know it's just BS. And it was. So that's why. Santiago, thank you so much for chipping in to help the kids. See, $5. $5, we'll get a ball or something for a kid. So for $5, you help some kid wake up with something under the tree. That's a great investment. Kid wakes up with nothing on Christmas. You think he's going to grow up to be a solid citizen? He's going to be bitter. He's going to be bitter, and so let's try and head that off. Lead commander, we all know the talk is now about Josh and possible GMs. Yeah, that's right. You don't announce a staff just 30 days after season. I think they'll have a GM on board within the week and a coach within hopefully a week after that. But you got to go with the GM first. And hopefully whoever you hire as a GM has been thinking, if I become a GM, I want to be this coach. And there are coaches I know who have always told me they talk to their friends and say, listen, I'm up for some coaching jobs. I'd like you on my staff if I get it. That happens too. The friend network works pretty heavy in the NFL. Uh, Newcomers don't get added to staffs very easily for that very reason. Well, it does a little bit. It's a lot of good old boy networking. Frank, I gotta know, what are your top three all-time Christmas movies? Number one is White Christmas. Okay, that's absolutely White Christmas. I've already watched it once this year. Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I'm not going with that BS. I do like the Die Hard movies, but I don't sit here and worry. Home Alone, probably one. Home Alone one would be my favorite there. Yeah, there's one more, huh? I don't know. There's two. I'm not good at doing lists. I'm awful at doing lists, to be honest. Scotty A. During press conferences, the coach or coordinator always has a sheet of paper, but now never seems to refer to it. What do you think is on it? Well, sometimes it's injury sheet, and Ron doesn't like to talk about it. One time Spurrier left it at the podium. I just grabbed it, and that way I wrote down everything. A lot of times they have updates on injuries, or it could be a stat sheet too. A lot of times the first stats that they still print out, the books, which are I got one here. So they give us a book after the game of everything. Now I know it's all online, and we all have it online, but they still print them out. They print out 100 copies of this thing, and they get one of the interns to run it down the room as soon as they're printed. So a lot of times coaches have that because people say, "What do you think of this guy?" You kind of want to look at maybe a stat for a moment. So that's what they do. That's usually what's on the sheet of paper: is stats or injuries, or else maybe it's dinner order. Let's see. Steve Ron says, "Don't throw anyone under the bus." Yeah, that's true, and then he does it a few times. I think you're going to see it a little bit more. Oh, Wonderful Life, Todd. Okay. I've seen Wonderful Life and Home Alone too. I like A Wonderful Life. I can't watch it all the time like some people do, um, but it's a good movie. Teaches us humanity. It's a great movie like that. Okay. And let's see, we got 20 some minutes left. I'll do it. Not, I don't know why, but I'm not as tired as normal today. I've been fighting. I got food poisoning Saturday night at a restaurant. And I thought, man, I'm not going to make it to the game Sunday. If any of you have had food poisoning, it hits you fast and hard. And it was a fast food place. And eaten there many a time. But it hit me hard, and with the lingering effects of it kind of drains you for a little bit. But I did make the game. Didn't have a problem since. That's the one good thing about food poisoning. It hits fast, but it tends to leave pretty quick. But then, as a diabetic, it kind of drains me. Scotty A, thank you so much for chipping in. That's going to be able to help some kid wake up Christmas happy. What more can you ask for than that? Right? Am I an eggnog guy? Non-alcoholic. I'll have a glass at Christmas. That's about it. Probably one. I don't drink alcohol much anymore at my age, and some of my health issues. I don't need a push into the grave, so I don't drink as much as I did when I was a younger person. Worst coach you interviewed? Joel asked. Ooh, that can be a long list. Spurrier was tough because he never answered the question. He'd always want to talk about his offense. I mean, I once said, "Okay, this new defensive lineman, your son. You don't think my offense can work? I didn't ask you about your offense. Oh, my offense will work." I mean, he sit there and it's like, dude, can we get back to the D line question? So Spurrier was a tough one like that. I've covered 10 coaches on there. Some of them, Pettibone. Pettibone was a coach only because Gibbs left so late that he wanted to protect his staff another year and keep their jobs. That's why Joe left in March. And so Bone would just kind of blow off a lot of questions because he really didn't want to be head coach. Steve Moody, I love Charlie Brown Christmas. Yes, and it's stuck on Apple where we can't get it unless I subscribe to Apple. And that's a shame, I think. I hear some other networks getting ready to buy Apple, maybe TV, and maybe we'll see it. Because Charlie Brown should be like one of those national things that, yes, it's going to be on, like Rudolph, and maybe Frosty the Snowman, those kind of things. The young kids should see that still today. Sean, there's been more talk recently about players frustrated with EB. That's losing talking, to be honest. That's what I think. Greg, would you hire a GM before coach? Absolutely, Greg. I mean, that's to me, that's the way you do it. GM, coach, then decide on quarterback. Sean, okay, so I just did Sean, Greg, Alexander. What team could get a top three draft pick? Should they pick a QB with it? Or a team could get a three. Yeah, they might get to three. It's possible. I'm not sure. I'm not doing quarterback drafting for a while. Joel, Richie was 4-12. Yeah, I mean, the hardest part of that was we're talking. I remember somebody asking Richie, "Are you surprised how the crowd's really upset with this team when you're only 18 months ago you won a Super Bowl?" And Richie's like, "Yeah, I thought we'd have some goodwill carry on longer than 18 months." That team got old really quick. I don't think Gibbs left because he saw that. I think he left for his own reasons. But that team got old really quick, and it just went down. Then the next year they won 3 games with North. So that was 4-3. It was a couple of the worst years ever. That's why this year doesn't bother me. I've seen it. Alexander, my favorite Christmas movie, White Christmas. Danny, Danny Kaye and Vera and well, Bing Crosby, of course. I mean, it's just a good, solid movie. We watched it when we were putting up the tree a couple weeks ago. Steve, if you were to put a young quarterback behind the line this bad, they won't be better off. True, and that's one thing we always talk about. Washington should have taken maybe instead of Chase, should have taken Herbert. I said they'd just find a way to ruin them. So whatever. Couldn't be Tampa Bay. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Tampa. They go through that. Seattle's nailed them a few times in the playoffs too. That sucks. LimeWire's here. Oh, thank you, LimeWire, for chipping in. Merry Christmas to you too. And add a little money to that pile if we can buy a few more presents for kids. And that's what we're doing here. So if you get, you know, probably this issue, I think we'll probably have about 400 plus people watch the show overall. And, unfortunately, most times it's only like 5 people donate. Be one of the good guys for once. Kick some money in for the kids. I'm not getting this money. Kids are getting this money. And we're putting it in for Christmas presents. If any of you have kids, can you imagine your kid waking up one day and you say, "Hey, I'm sorry, Johnny, I didn't have any money for you and we couldn't buy you anything for Christmas." You want to be that guy? Well, help somebody else not be that guy. That's what we're doing here. Otherwise, I was going to take the week off, honestly, bye week. I could take a break. I've been doing a show every Monday since August. Do I commit to Sam or bring in competition? Asked Jason. If it's a first round pick, then you bring in competition. Other than that, no. Greg, I would look at GM candidates from the Patriots, Eagles, Ravens, 49ers. True. So you're looking for successful teams and people who have been part of building it. And you got to find out, were they part of it or were they just riding along like, say, Serrato in San Francisco? He wasn't one of the key people. He came here and didn't do jack. Let's see. I'm sorry. Bramucci? I don't know. After Gibbs left, Gasly drafted that wide receiver. I'm going to say Michael Westbrook is who you're talking about. And Westbrook was not a total bust. He played 7 years. He had a 1,000-yard season. It wasn't what people wanted, but I've seen bigger busts than that. So it wasn't what you wanted, but it was not awful. Sean, the haul we could get by trading, top 5 pick down. True, but there's no guarantee those picks work out. Remember the RG3 picks? The Rams got all those picks. They didn't do jack with them. So to me, go get a guy. If you see a guy there, take that guy. If they see an offensive tackle that they think is the next Trent Williams, take him. Don't trade it down for other picks and try and get a bunch of okay guys at best. Now, go get the good one, and we'll worry about the rest next. League commander, if Josh Harris feels Rivera's lost the attention of the team, you should put him out of his misery. Yeah, but he's not going to. So, let's just finish the season and not worry about it. Just finish the season and not worry about it. Let Ryan just coach whatever, and we'll all, you got Christmas to focus on and other things, and then we'll worry about it. There's plenty of time to fire Ron, and then we'll fire the next guy too while you're at it. Because everybody wants to just fire Ron to get to the next guy saying fire him. You got to take a breath. Whatever happened to Kyle Smith? Asked Sean. That's a good question. Good question. Would he come back? Yeah, because the people who fired him aren't here. Oh, you're thinking of Desmond Howard, Sean. Okay, yeah, he was a bust. Desmond Howard used to giggle, and the other players looked at him like he was nuts. But he would answer a question and go, ah, it's all. Everybody stared hard at that. He had some success elsewhere, but didn't really fit in here. That was a bad pick. Mike, you're the man. Thank you so much for chipping in. Most popular drink among presidents? Whiskey, absolutely. Do I have a separate channel for my tour guide business? No, it's all on here together. But I am a tour guide in DC. There's a lot of Commanders fans that come to town. I take you around and can do whatever. Go to monumentalthoughts.com. You'll see what my tours are. If you're coming into town for Christmas or something, we might be able to do something there. Whiskey definitely was the biggest. I'm doing a book. It's called Presidential Pours. It'll be out hopefully at St. Patrick's Day. I didn't make Christmas, unfortunately. And every president's favorite drink is going to be in the book and some other stories too. So Franklin Pierce, people always ask me, who's the drunkest president? Franklin Pierce. You don't remember Franklin Pierce? Because he was in the tank. So, but thank you, Mike. James Howard, thank you also. I like to do HTTR. HTTC just leaves me cold. I don't have a problem people using the word Redskins. I really don't. I just think it was a bunch of outside agitators who forced it, and Snider had to trade it to try and stave his own skin, which didn't work. But that's the only reason he did it. And if I'm not woke enough for that opinion, I don't care. And most of you don't care either. I can tell you that. I don't hear people saying, I love Commander's name. I love Commander's name. Never, never, ever have I heard somebody say that. They can tolerate it okay, but that's it. Nobody has ever said, thank God, I love Commanders. Been waiting all my life. Nobody has ever said that. But a lot of people miss the Redskins, and they're not a bunch of racist, bad people. So, sorry. That's not quite as popular as some people like. I don't care. Being near retirement, I'm kind of bulletproof on some of this. I can say what I think. And if Josh Harris has, and I've had conversations with people inside Washington's organization, and it's always been, they know the fans would be okay with going back to Redskins. It's the corporate money they worry about. To me, corporate America goes with the win. They'll be mad. They'll pull some money for a little while, and then they'll be back. All these companies that are boycotting Elon Musk on Twitter because of his views on certain things, they'll be back. It's the truth. And so just weather the storm if you really think it's worth it. Lots of teams in the NFL are rebuilding much quicker in the 4 year. I agree with that, Ebod. 3 to me is the max, and 2 you should be seeing something. Unless you just come into a program where they got Zippo and they don't have any draft picks around, that's a tough one. But you got to be willing. Free agency will let you spend some money. Are you going to win another game this season, Mr. Cool? Mr. Cool's in. Maybe, just because a lot of games in the NFL aren't so much won as they are lost by other teams, including this team. So maybe they get lucky. Bermucci, how do you donate? There's a $ right below the screen here. You can click it and it'll walk you through how to donate money to us. Yeah, it's called the thanks button, but they created it during the pandemic to help out artists who would perform on the air because they couldn't go to venues, and the guys used it as like a tip jar. And so that's kind of what I do too. Other weeks, it's to help me keep going, do the show, support the show, because it's all free. But for this week, it's for the local toy drives. Let's see, Sean, would you trade John Allen or Payne? Hey, give me the right price, yeah. I'm not trading him for a third. You give me a low 2 or something, because he has 2 years on a contract you can control. I wouldn't let him go with less than a 2, or maybe another comparable player, which you have. Greg, Kyle Smith's with the Falcons. That's right. Yeah, I knew he was out there. I just haven't paid attention to him lately. Share 606, thank you for chipping in. I appreciate the nice words too. So we're starting to raise a little money for these kids. We got enough to buy a bag of balls now or something. I'll look at the list and try and spend the money best I can, and help as many kids as we can. And if you have a local toy drive where you live, You can go to like Walmart and buy a ball, like a basketball, for like $5. Some of them, they're not. I'm not saying it's the greatest NBA Jordan ball, but it's a ball. And to me, I buy basketballs a lot because a kid can bounce the ball on his by itself. If you get a baseball glove or something, you need all these other guys to come play. You know, I buy a football now and then too, but just trying to help kids have something. Have something. You don't want them to walk up without that. Let's see, Brent. It may seem like a bad question. Do you think Vegas has a lot to do with how games are played, maybe the outcome? Boy, Brent, I hope not, because if that gets proven, the NFL is gone. If you lose faith in the fairness of all this, then you're not doing it. And that happened I used to cover horse racing. There was a big problem with that, and people wouldn't bet. So you got to keep that. But the NFL is walking both sides of that line. Ramucci, thank you so much for shipping in. Do appreciate it. That's a great gift, and we'll be able to help kids. I mean, $20 is nothing out of your pocket, people. But whatever it is, help people out. We definitely appreciate it. It all adds up. So I do appreciate all that. All right, we got 10 minutes to go. Brent, I think we need some talent more than coaching. I kind of agree with you there. Because this team, you really look at it, doesn't have the talent. And even Cam Curl, everybody's talking about, God, resign him. I don't think Cam Curl's had a good season at all. Just don't when I'm watching. They don't have a lot of pure talent. They got a few players, but they don't have really any great players. They have some good ones. That's nice, but you need some great ones too. My Italian is excellent. Okay. Whatever you say there. I've been to Italy. If you know Spanish, you kind of know Italian, both Latin languages. And so you have to, the pronunciation's a little different. Um, like Spanish, it's a ya, and Italian, it's a za. I sound like Forrest Gump, but I got around at times. Thinking about going back soon. I put my ticket request in. I'm going to find out Wednesday night about the U2 expanded 4 shows. You can look it up. If you want to go see U2 in the Sphere, they just added 4 shows late February, early March. You can put in your ticket request. They're going to hit the lottery thing. And I think Wednesday they'll decide. It's not always bad. I want to go see that. I'm hoping to win that and get a couple tickets. I think I got a chance. So I'm going to go to Vegas. It'll be the first trip in 5 years because of the pandemic. I'm ready to go somewhere. A lot of places. Wife's retiring before then, and we're going to hit the road again. Before you get too old, you can't. Bigger disappointment, Jahan Dotson or Terry? Jahan, Sean. I mean, Terry's numbers still aren't bad. Mr. Cool, I think the team has talent. It's lacking a work ethic. I don't know. They worked pretty hard earlier this season. Everybody talked about EB was working up too hard, which I don't think is really there. I mean, the hardest training camp I ever saw, not even close, was Marty Schottenheimer's. 2 a day, full pads, every day. I don't even let them do that anymore under league rules. And he beat those guys to death, and they started 0-5. But they then went 8-3. But Marty's camp was brutal. It was like Junction Boys stuff. It's not about working hard so much. But, I've seen other coaches that ran Club Meds. Gruden's weren't hard. Zorn's wasn't hard. Michael, thank you so much for kicking in. Do appreciate it. What to do for wide receiver next year? I think they're going to need one. But I think you go free agency and pay some money for one. If you draft one, man, what are you going to do with that draft pick? You could spend that first rounder on 10 different guys. Really could. So try and make sure you pick one. I try and I start with a lineman because all football starts on the line. Sean, not sure what to think of Jamin Davis. He's flashed some, I agree. I think another staff might put him in a better spot. Jamin's gotten to me up to decent, which is not what I want out of a first round pick after 3 years. But at least he's gotten up to decent, not been a bust. Brent used to work at the Luxor. I've stayed there. And I might say I might be my favorite hotel in Vegas. I stayed there years ago. It's cool because it's a pyramid. And when you take the elevator instead of going up and down goes like this. it's really a weird thing. I like the Luxor. It was a nice hotel. So I would rank it right up there. The Venetian's a really nice hotel. The MGM Grand used to be. I haven't been there in years, but man, the rooms can be a long ways away. But I often now stay off the strip. I've done that quite a number of times now. So if I go back to Vegas, I'm going to the Pawn Stars place too. I got a couple of things I want to maybe see if I can get Chum Lee to buy them or Rick. I love Pawn Stars. So I've never had a chance to go. My wife was born in Vegas, so we'll get to go back to her hometown. Her mom was a showgirl. I like to say that, but no, her dad was one of the Thunderbirds. He was their chief mechanic way back. So we have some ties to Vegas. All right. Any stories or experience with Joe Gibbs? Very charitable with you for tomorrow, says Mike. Yeah. I mean, Gibbs, there's no resume spots on Gibbs. So many people, you get so disappointed in our leaders, especially political ones, when you find out the truth about what scumbags they are. Not happening with Gibbs. Okay. I've been around Gibbs over the years, zero bad to say about him. And I thought his work after Sean Taylor died, where he would talk to the media and everybody every day. I mean, he held Redskin Park together in a tragic time. And I took such comfort listening to Gibbs talk about even things like heaven and football. The football games last 1,000 years. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but I felt better listening to Gibbs talk every day, and I appreciated him, and I appreciate him. But there's no downside to Gibbs. I never once heard a bad story about Gibbs. Why don't you use Rodriguez more? D Fields? It's a good question. And Brian Robinson's got a hammy. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks. I think I would give him. He's a hard runner. I give him a little more chance. I mean, Gibson gets his touches too, and guy's the third guy, but I think he's worth watching more. We did ask Ron today about you're going to play some of these lesser guys that haven't had much of a chance in the last month. And he says, well, there might be opportunities. So the answer is no. Training camp should be somewhere else in 2024. Greg, problem is they're in a holding pattern until they figure out where they're going with the new stadium. So they'll just stay at Redskin Park, but they did build some really nice stands this past year, and they were awesome, I thought. And I thought they did, and they had shuttles and stuff. I thought they did a good job at training camp this year. I mean, where else we're going to go? Club Med. We could have it by the ocean, but I'd never see the water. So what do I care if we're there? I'm just in a field, standing on a field. This is the lowest the team's looked in a long time, KJ. I would say probably since maybe Drew Gruden's last year or Shanahan's last year. And whenever coaches get fired, it's a long year. The bathroom in the Bellagio was nice. Okay, I can't say I can rate them much, Sean, about that. Don't really remember offhand. Gary, will E be here next year? If I had to throw my money on the table right now, I'd say no. Sean, offensive MVP. It's got to be Sam. And who's your defensive MVP? Who's that going to be? Cam Curl, who I've been disappointed in. I don't know. That's a tough one. Let's see. Tony, do you think 17 is in a slump or a byproduct? What's going on? I think it's more of a byproduct. I don't know. It's not Terry. But Terry can only catch what's thrown to him. KJ, who's the GM going to be? Let me look. Let's see. I found a secret page. Oh, okay. I don't know, dude. I don't know that they know. So if they don't know, how am I not know? I'm going to know. We'll get closer to it. Just hold on. Take breaths. It'll be okay. We got Christmas. Got Christmas to worry about for a while, So don't worry about the GM so much. It'll come. You want some better scouts? Well, yeah, Brent. I wouldn't mind better scouts. And aggressive trade makers. Well, if you can get something good, sure. Sean says defensive MVP, Mac Jones. Mac Jones. Ooh. I mean, honestly, the defensive MVP, I guess it's Cam Curl. But they could vacate it this year, in my opinion. I couldn't name anybody on the line. You couldn't name a linebacker. You're going to make Jamin Davis it? Fuller asked Mr. Cool. No, no, no. Well, it's a sad question. I hadn't thought about that yet. Thanks for that. Yeah, I mean, maybe Fuller is it, Sean, but yeah. Tony, thanks for everything. I appreciate that. I do appreciate everybody watching. I do have the show on at 6 a.m. The 2 minute videos are always up at 6 a.m. And there's a poll also. I just put something up, and they're scheduled. So I'm not up at 6 a.m. every day. I'm up some days like today, but I already have them in the auto. And then I do the evening one somewhere between 5 and 7. Kind of depends on what's going on, what I'm choosing. And they're there every day. I haven't missed. I think I've missed one day in 3 years. I had COVID this summer and didn't miss. I sound like Kermit the Frog, and you guys thought I was dying, and I didn't know better because I didn't know I had COVID at the time. But I did manage. Eagles seem to be getting better. Yeah, Roger. I mean, listen, the Eagles people are the smartest guys around, and they've proven that. Sean, thank you so much. Appreciate the words. Gary, do we need to use draft picks on DE or O line? Yeah, absolutely. Go steal some more picks and use those too. All the ones you can use, get them. But you do need other things too. You could really upgrade a tight end. You could upgrade a receiver. Anywhere on the defense you want to do, you know. DJ, a complete overhaul. I mean, you do the best you can. I think most years you tend to flip about 20 guys, more or less. Most of them at the end of the roster. This year, first year of a new coach like this could be 30. That's 60%, basically. DJ, none of the players on the roster of the future. Well, I mean, Sam could be, Brian Robinson could be, Terry McLaurin and Jahan could be. Samuel is a free agent. I don't see them re-signing him. So there's some. Greg, besides FedEx Fields, what's the dumbest stadium? Wow, that's a good question. I hadn't thought about that in a while. That left me cold. I mean, now they're really building these billion-dollar stadiums, so they're pretty nice on there. I have to think about that one. I'm sorry. I have to think to give you a real answer. Patrick also says linebacker, tight end, wide receiver. Yeah, I mean, there isn't too much that you wouldn't pick. So find me a stud wherever he is. I prefer a lineman, but if you got the second coming of something great and he's there, take him. Right now, could pick 4, could drop to 2. Yeah, they could get to 2. I don't think they will, but 4th is probably where they end up. Why do you think it's going so wrong this year, Gary? I asked. One, I think we overestimated talent. 2, we overestimated coaching, and I think both of them combined to take it all down. And they lost some close games, and now they're just giving up. I know they won't agree with that, but they've given up. This process takes 4 to 5 years, says DJ. See, it's the problem. By 4 or 5 years, the first guys you're taking in that process are gone after a few years. I mean, NFL guys only average 3-year careers. Yeah, some last longer, but the guys that are at the beginning of this process won't be there at the end. So you got to do it quicker than that. You got to do it in 2 or 3 to hold a team together. Otherwise, you're losing free agents. You're losing people. Patrick says lack of talent. I mean, I think lack of talent has been a little bit, a little more of the problem than lack of coaching. But I haven't been real impressed with this staff overall. I thought Del Rio, I thought he checked out mentally a while ago. DJ, is this a lame duck season? Well, it's a dead duck season. How about that? Is the team better off today than when Gruden took it over? No. Probably about the same. They both stunk. It's about the same. Ooh, we already hit the hour mark. All right, last call for money for toys for kids. Unless you want to be a Grinch and not hand in anything. Some of you have done great tonight. I do appreciate that. But if you want to try and help out kids, if you hate children, keep your money. Okay? Keep your money if you hate kids. And you're going to go to hell and you can spend it there. But the rest of you, how about chipping in something? I'll go a couple extra minutes for that. Let you reach into your pocket and say, okay, I can give up. You can give it up. Come on. In today's economy, what's $5 in your pocket? They don't even buy $3, like they said on Saturday Night Live. You know what $5 is worth? $2. Steve, thanks so much for coming. Steve stays for every minute, though it sounds like he's going to leave me early, but it's okay. It's okay, Steve. DJ thinks a bunch of people suck and won't get anything for him. I don't agree with that. You'll get more. Patrick, we don't have linebackers that can run sideline to sideline. I agree with that. The new stadium be at the old RFK site, Gary asked. If I throw my money on the table right now, I say yes. But we got a ways to go. But I know there's a lot of work being done by politicians in DC, especially trying to get this done. And that would take us an hour to talk about, but it's coming. Uh, KJ, Ron messed up bringing in too many guys he liked. That happens with every single coach. Every single coach. Nor brought 7 guys from the Cowboys. You know, I mean, it happens every time. All right, Steve, I knew you wouldn't leave me early. Brent, thank you so much for chipping in. Do you think it's my Phillies front office? I mean, they've done a great job. I just don't like people in the same division coming, but if I'm Philly, I'd try not to lose a guy to a division rival too, because they know your secrets. How many points? Well, since Michael kicked in a few bucks here, I think they're going to beat the 49ers by 26 points. It's just going to be a bad one. So I'll predict scores if you throw in some money. I'll pick Washington to beat anybody for you. How about that? Scotty A, thank you so much for chipping in. Appreciate it. Who's in Harris's inner circle outside the ownership group? Tony, I have not penetrated those kind of things yet. We've been kind of busy on some other things. But, the ownership group's big enough right now. I mean, Mark Ein is definitely in the know about things. He owns some smaller stuff in town, but he's a pretty sharp guy. DJ, what do you think of Jim Harbaugh being a new coach? Well, his brother certainly did a great job with the Ravens, and they both had great, solid careers. I would not think picking Harbaugh's the first choice, but I'm sure all of you will hate him because he's not whoever. He's not 40. What everybody really should want, and I know this sounds crazy, but you should want another Gibbs because Gibbs was 41, hot offensive coordinator. That's what everybody wants in this thing. Whomever that is, you want a young coordinator ready to rock versus an old retread. And I'm not sure how Harbaugh can do in the pro game again. He did great in San Francisco for a while, and I'm not saying he won't. But I would like somebody else. I'd like a hot coordinator, young coordinator. Now, that was Norv when he came. He was the hot guy off 2 titles in Dallas. It took Norv about 6 years to really become a head coach. It took him a while to learn how to deal with things. Listen, there's a reason why everybody's got coordinators too now. Because in the old days, like when Gibbs had it, you had like 45-man rosters, and you had 40 and no practice squads. Now you have 53 plus the practice squad. You have 70 guys that you got to pay attention to as a coach. 70 guys versus 4. The difference, like at Redskin Park, Commanders Park, I have to park out in a field because there's no room to park cars anymore. There used to be plenty of room, but they had 20-some players, 20-some cars. So I have to park out in the field. So, I mean, that's the job of the coaches. There's so much more on them. Look at Ron. He had to put up with 10 million scandal problems, on there. So you need somebody young, energetic, willing to take on the world. Gibbs did all that. We'll see. Roger, thank you so much for chipping in. You guys are all chipping in here at the end. I shamed you enough, I guess. Don't want another centric approach coach. Absolutely, Patrick. They're not doing that this time. Got new owners this time. So Josh Harris, is new to football, but he's not new to sports. And Magic is basketball, but also knows all sports. Those guys are going to find people that can lead them to the right candidates. They may go to, they're going to find people that say, here's who you should be looking at. So that's why I have a lot of confidence. So they won't just be spitting in a wind like Snider did. When Gibbs retired on him, all of a sudden, Snider got caught flat-footed. He couldn't get anybody to take the job because he was so late to it. That's why they got Zorn in the end. And he had no idea. Snyder didn't have any idea who ran the league. So I think they'll do that. Lincoln Riley. Ooh, Brett. That's an interesting name out of nowhere. But Lincoln Riley's been a good coach. DJ thinks Harbaugh. Harbaugh would definitely be on my list to check. he may just think, hey, I'm about to win a national title at Michigan. I'm God here. Why would I want to leave this? Yeah. What about the guy from Florida State? Yeah, he had a great season, but I'd have to look at him harder to know. Tony, thank you so much for chipping in. You guys are all loading up now. I appreciate it. And if you're watching this on replay, you can still donate. The money will still show up. So don't be afraid of that. More people watch on replay and watch live for some reason. So, well, we have different time zones, all that kind of thing. I have a lot of people in Europe that watch the next morning for our time. That always tell me, why don't you do it earlier? Well, I might do one in the morning once. Maybe we'll try that sometime. Maybe I'll do it before a game, before this season ends, whenever that is. We only have 4 games left. Maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll try it next time. I'll let you know. I'll post an update. Maybe we'll try it in the morning before a game, see what happens. I tried the Thanksgiving Day game where I was live during the first half and nobody hardly came. They all watched later. So you never know how this works. I know it works this way. DJ's going for Harbaugh. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad pick to talk about. Greg, a lot of people have talked about the offensive coordinator from the Eagles. Give it a shot. Oh, there. I got to go back. I had a list for a while, but I'll have to go back and look at it. Oh, Gary, so you're in England. Yeah, what time is it, Gary? Like 2 in the morning? What are you, crazy? Go to bed. Yeah, I just finished. I have business partners in South Africa on a venture I work on, and they're like 6, 7 hours ahead. And they're like, hey, can we do a conference call? And he says, here's the time. I said, that's 4 a.m. where I am. No, I'm not going to do a conference call at 4 a.m. I did it with him at 10 a.m. and it was the end of his business day. That was his problem, not mine. I used to work for a Japanese group, and they used to call me once in a while at 2 a.m. I do a lot of stuff on the side. Being a newspaper reporter and columnist doesn't pay you what you think. So I've always been out there grabbing money best I could. Okay, we ready to wrap it up? Anybody else have any loose change? Just signal to me so I can hold on for another minute. Thank you, everybody, so much for donating. And I didn't see the final figure yet, but it was pretty good. We did more than $100. I know that. So that's going to buy, there's going to be at least 10 kids out there with something for Christmas. Can't beat that on there. So I do appreciate that. Everybody watching. Michael, Mr. Cool says, best part of my job? Well, talking to you guys, man. Best part of the job was meeting so many of the old Redskins I grew up watching and becoming friends with a number of them, like Sonny and Billy. That's awesome, to tell you the truth. And just getting to travel and see the world for free. I mean, I got to go to Japan covering the game in Osaka, right on the team plane. That was pretty cool. I got to see Japan for free. I mean, so, for all the BS that you have to put up with as a reporter and working 80-hour weeks and not making the money you should, there's a lot of great parts to it, too. You got to love this job or you can't do it. I do miss the newsrooms, Tony. They just really aren't there anymore. But I was never in them much because I was always in the field covering sports. So we didn't have to show up at the newsroom. I got direct deposit in '86 and never had to show up at the office to get my check. That freed me up. That's why boss says, "How come you don't come in here?" And I go, "Well, are they playing any games in the newsroom I don't know about?" Well, they play games, but it ain't that kind of game. So yeah, I miss the younger journalism, but today is their day. I'm just sort of the last of the Mohicans telling you about the old days on there and working on other projects. I'm working on a play that I've written, trying to see if I can get that produced. Can't just sit here and write the same stupid, Red Commanders lost stories. Got to do other things in life or you get bored. So, all right, Mr. Cole, thank you so much. All right, everybody, I think we're about done. DJ knows for a fact that they're drafting a round 1 quarterback. You can pencil that in. No, man, we need blue ink. Blue ink or it's not real. Bring back Gruden. You guys got to stop doing this, Gregory. I hear that. No, I like Jay personally, but no. Jay had his chance. Jay was into his 6th season, okay? The 6th season, and he's 0-5. All right, so he had his chance. You haven't seen anybody else hire him. So maybe his brother will if he gets back to, who knows, the Gruden and Gruden special. I like Jay as a person on there. All right, so if you're watching on replay, you can you missed the earlier part of the show, you can wait a few minutes and YouTube will recycle the show and you can see the whole thing. on there. Um, Last call. If you want one of these for Christmas, you got to go to Amazon. It's 100 Things Redskins Fans. The Commander's book is updated, has fresher stories, has 5 new chapters. So if you want that, but a lot of people like the Redskins. You want to give it as a present. People don't want Commanders; they want Redskins. I don't care. Get paid the same. They're both on Amazon. So go look them up. Hopefully you buy something there. Guillermo, thank you so much for chipping in like that. There you go. Last minute guy throwing a Hail Mary to help us out. Tony, it's a play about a tyrant who owned a kingdom only to squander it. No, it's about a writer who was actually an angel and came to help a minister with the sermons and defeats a demon along the way, kind of thing. I've written several kind of things like this, and I actually do help ministers. Well, I don't consider myself the angel, but I do help ministers write sermons at times. I review them and tell them, "You're boring me to death. We got to fix this." And I've been doing that for years. Do it for free as a way of just not boring people in the pulpits. I'm supposed to maybe deliver my own sermon to a church in January. I'll let you know. You got, and it'll be live on, you know, the internet, so you'll be able to watch. God help me on all of that. All right, we're good. So I guess I'll be back next Monday. It's bye week. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I want to take 1 week off, but if not, I might be there. You'll see. I'll post a notice. We're not doing Seasons of Discontent podcast this week because my partner and I just said let's take a week off. So they'll be back next week for those few of you who watch it on there. And like I said, you can see videos in the morning, 6 o'clock, and 5 to 7, whatever, in the evening. I've got a really good, interesting one Tuesday night about a unique museum in town. It's kind of a cool place to go. So tune in for that. Tune in for all of it. You got to watch all of it. I mean, 2 minute videos, you can get those done during a commercial break on there. All right. So, hey, everybody, have a good time. Happy holiday season to everybody. I'm sure I'll see you again. Although we don't have a home game before Christmas, I just realized yesterday. I was like, what do you mean? Nobody came with the Santa outfits either. Just everybody else forgot too. But there are, there's still LA and the Jets before Christmas. We'll be doing Christmas Eve. Ooh. So anyway, thank you everybody. Thank you, Mr. Cool, for coming. DJ, Tony, all you guys. It's been great. Stayed a little longer just because you guys have done a great job tonight just asking questions. I wish we could do it like more videos somehow, but I don't know how to do that. So this is safer in case there's some psycho who wants to come in here and blow up my whole thing. So, all right. So we're done. Yes, I do have the bell. I'm Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Washington. Thanks for coming. I'll see you again soon. Like tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See everybody later. Everybody say goodbye. It's okay. I know I'm still alive. That's okay. Bye, everybody. See you.